could change that. And it'll repeat 3 times. You can change it however you need. Indexing, similarly, it's just kind of showing you ways that you can filter the vector that you made. So this line here is showing you how to bring up the first element within this vector numbers. So we're working with the vector numbers in all of these. This one is the 2nd through 4th elements. And this is all of the elements in this vector that are greater than 5. That's only 10 and 20. So practice 3 is just asking you to make a vector with 10 numbers and perform 3 of these functions. So that's what I did here. And now I'm doing command return to run that line and create this object here. And if I run this line, it'll pull up 2 because that's the first element in this vector. This will pull up the 2nd through 4th elements. And this will pull up all of the elements in my vector that are greater than 5. Now, the working directory is one of the most important things to be aware of when you're working with R. So this git wd will show you where you're working. So currently, because I saved this welcome to R script just directly to my desktop, it's just showing me that I'm on my desktop. In order to set your working directory, which you're going to need to do pretty much every time you open R, go into Session, Set Working Directory, choose Directory, and again, right now, we're just working with our desktop. So now we want to go ahead and make a folder on our desktop titled with our last name _R _ files. And now we can change our working directory to be that folder. Go ahead and do that because we will need that later. So moving on, now we're going to work with data frames. Data frames are slightly different than vectors because they can have different kinds of data in them. So here we see we've got characters, numbers, and logical data. So if you run this first line, or really any of the lines, if you have your cursor just within this box of text and you hit command return, it'll create this data frame here. And that's going to pull up, it's no longer the values, it's data. So that just shows you that it's a data frame. You can click it and it'll open in a second tab and you can look at it here. But you can also just run students and it will show up down here in the console. Similarly to what we were doing before with the vectors, we can run these lines to explore what is inside of this data frame students. So this head function will show the first, I believe, 6 rows. It's kind of irrelevant here because it's only 4 rows. So it's showing us everything. This shows us the structure. So it's showing us name, age, score, whether or not they passed, which is what we wrote in this section here. Summary shows us statistics. That will be useful in future assignments. And this $ operator is really, really useful, especially when you're working with slightly larger data frames, to just pull up different columns. So we have this column that has names. So we're taking the data frame titled students, $name. It's pulling that up here. Run that line. It's just pulling up the scores. This will pull up the age. And this is showing us that we can filter. So here we're filtering students who had a score higher than or equal to 90. And that's showing us down here. Bob had a score of 92, David had a score of 95. This will show us students who did not pass because instead of saying true, we said false. So the score 76 was not a passing grade. If we were to change that to true, it would show us all of the scores that were passing, which you see in this passed column. So this practice section, all it wanted you to do, I'm going to erase what I did before and show you guys again. Basically, I would suggest just copying this line, using it as a template here, and just add one more name. Make sure that you have a comma in between and you have the next name that you add in these quotation marks. And same with this. Add an age for this extra person. Sam is who I named them. Give them a score. Sam did not pass. And add this logical line that says whether or not they passed. So here I will say false because 55 would not be a passing score. And now go ahead and run that, and you'll have overwritten your previous students. And now it'll show up with this extra line for the additional person that you added. Now we're going to get into this importing the CSV. So in order to do this, it's really important that when you're downloading this Welcome to R CSV, you download it into the folder that you made earlier. So go ahead and make sure you have your folder selected when you save it. And now, since we have set our working directory to be in this folder, again, I'll show you. Set working directory, choose. We're in the folder that I created. You might have to go to desktop and open it from there. And since you downloaded this welcome to r.csv file into this folder, when you run that line, it should pull up this data frame that you downloaded. Now you can answer that question. This next section is showing us how to install packages. So once you run this line of code, you should get a bunch of text down here showing up that tells you that